So, as you might know, the ACT test is going to be changing its format in 2025. I did make a video that hopefully you've seen about what the 8 major changes are, but this video is going to be about, well, what is staying the same? Because I mean, there were so many changes before that, surely the test is like totally different, right? Not so fast. A lot of things are staying the same. So that is what we are going to address in this video. So the first thing that is staying the same is that those first 3 sections you're used to taking right now, English, math, and reading, they're still required. I mean, in fact, they take more of a prominent role because that is going to be what your composite score is made of. So grammar still matters. Math still matters. Comprehending what you read absolutely still matters. And who knows, depending on which college you might be applying to down the road, you might be needing to take that optional science section anyway, because maybe they might require it. We don't know yet. But what we do know is that English, math, reading still required, still important. So that is the first thing that is staying the same. So now the second thing that is staying the same is, remember that essay that people used to write all the time for the ACT, and there used to be an essay for the SAT as well. Well, guess what? It's still optional. It's still available. But it's still optional. In fact, it's been, a few years, quite a few years since any major college in the US has even required it for its standardized testing requirement. So, unless you really want to do the writing or the essay, you don't really have to. It's still optional. It still exists, but it's still optional. So that is the second thing that is staying the same with the new format of the ACT. So hi there, my name is Kristina of Ivy Lounge Test Prep. I help high schoolers all over the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and get into their dream colleges. So I have a question for you right now, and that is, are you scared about the fact that the ACT is changing? If you are, and that would be totally normal if you are, just comment in the comments below that, like, if you're scared and why, and if I'm able to, I'm happy to answer those questions or alleviate any fears. And while you're at it, please like this video and just subscribe to my channel. That way you can get all the videos I do when they come out. Thanks so much. So now let's talk about scoring. So currently the ACT scores all of its sections on a 1 through 36 point scale, 1 being you suck and 36 meaning you kick butt and you're perfect, right? So that is not changing. The ACT is still going to score each of its sections on a 1 to 36 point scale. And speaking of scoring, the whole idea of how coming up with a composite score means that you average sections to get that composite score, as opposed to adding, which is what the SAT does, that isn't changing either, right? So one aspect of it is changing, the aspect that instead of taking English, math, reading, and science and averaging those to get a composite score, that's current, the new format of the test will just take the first 3, the English, the math, and the reading, and average those to get its composite score, which is again out of 36. So the overall, score range of the sections, the overall way of, that we average to get a composite, those things are not changing. So that is the third thing that is staying the same. So you can, in fact, breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, the big question I know you've all been waiting for is, if the test is changing so much, does that mean like everything's different, like the type of questions and what's being asked? So we don't at this current second have like actual practice tests of the new ACT in front of us. However, the ACT organization has assured everyone that the question difficulty and the content of the questions and of the sections are remaining the same. So what that means is, currently, say the math section, geometry is supposed to comprise roughly a fourth, 25% of that math section. So it's still supposed to comprise the same because the content is not supposed to change. So you still have to learn the same amount of math, right? It's just, we're just going to test you on your knowledge over the course of fewer questions. You'll have 45 questions to demonstrate your knowledge as opposed to 60 questions to demonstrate your knowledge. Okay. But you still need to know all the different, topic content points, right? And theoretically, the breakdown of the topics are supposed to remain the same. So, like for English, for grammar, the rough breakdown of the hard and fast grammar rules versus rhetorical strategies, that should stay roughly the same. The type of grammar rules, like, all the punctuation and transition words and pronouns and subject verb agreement, you still need to know those, right? So the content itself, you still need to know, and the difficulty of the questions are supposed to stay the same. I believe that should mean the type of questions will basically stay the same. It's just that there will be fewer questions and less time to do them in, and more time per question, generally speaking. So that is the fourth thing, is that the question difficulty and contents are staying the same. So it's not going to be like a totally new test the way that the digital SAT was like a totally new test from the old SAT. Okay, and now the fifth thing that is going to stay the same, and that is we students will still have the option to do the ACT paper and pencil or to do it online. And you're like, what? You could do the ACT online. Okay, little known fact, it started being offered December of 2023 to like a pilot of maybe 5,000 students. And so that is an option now. You could, I don't know if it's necessarily offered at your test center or at every test center, but there is an option. You do have a choice. You could do the ACT online. Most people still do it paper and pencil. So, but the whole point is you still get a choice. This new thing that started, the option to do it online, you will still get the option to do it online, and you'll still get the option to do it on paper. So that is going to be the fifth thing that is staying the same. And as I mentioned in my previous video about the changes, I do want you to know that depending on which of those options you choose, that will determine if you're gonna, when you will need to switch over from the current test to the new test. So if you're one of those online test people, you would be doing the new test as early as April 2025. If you are a paper and pencil kind of gal or guy, then you would be switching over to the new format September 2025. And if you are doing the ACT in school as a school day test, you'll be doing that spring of 2026. So I hope that cleared up that, in fact, a lot is staying the same between the current format of the ACT and the new format that's coming out. And so you shouldn't totally be shaken to the bones, because a lot, in fact, is staying the same. And the most important thing is the content that you need to learn is staying the same. So I have another video that you should definitely watch, and it is all about, well, how does this affect you, right? Depending on what class you are, and if you're an ACT person, should you just wait and just do the new one? Should you just hurry up and get the old one done? So I'm going to answer all of those questions in my next video. Can't wait to see you there.